This is a full story. Kitten wishes you all a happy and enjoyable story. After the confession was successful, Hailey was always busy. She was the little princess adored by everyone, needing to socialize, dance, and host parties. Of course, she had no time to accompany me for trivial matters. It was always her sister whom I asked to keep me company, even before the wedding on the day for trying on the dress. She sent her sister over because she was too busy supporting her beloved guitar boy. I'm about the same size as Serena, so it's fine for her to help me try it on. Later, when she finally finished her tasks and came to find me, she happened to catch her sister gently knocking on my door at midnight. Brother-in-law, opened the door, it's me, your sister. She was furious, but I was laughing softly, holding her sister close. Hailey, don't make a scene. You always lie to me. My sister's figure is much better than yours. On the day of the wedding dress fitting, Hailey did not show up at the bridal shop. I sat quietly on the sofa, my gaze fixed on the door. I was hoping that Hailey would push open that big door, step in front of me, and try on the wedding dress we had picked together. But unfortunately, that did not happen. For a full 3 hours, the door remained tightly shut. It was only after 3 hours that I received a call from Hailey. Rocky, I have something come up today. I can't make it to the fitting. I've sent my sister over. She has a similar body shape to mine, so don't worry. All the words I wanted to say, all the questions I had, got stuck in my throat at that moment. Okay, I answered her softly. Then I heard the sound of the call being disconnected. The lights in the bridal shop were so bright that they blurred my vision, leaving me with nothing but a haze of white light. Even the muted whispers of the shop assistants were indistinct to me. I have liked Hailey for 10 years. From the moment we met, she gave me a piece of candy, leaving an everlasting mark on my fragile heart. I was a sickly child with a weak constitution, so I didn't have many friends, and I was occasionally mocked by other kids, which made me quite reclusive. I was gloomy, not fond of talking, and avoided interaction with others. My only friend was a golden retriever I had found. Hailey was the first person who took the initiative to talk to me. Once, when I nearly fainted from low blood sugar, she handed me a piece of candy, an orange-flavored fruit candy, which filled my mouth with a sweet aroma the moment I put it in. She smiled like a fairy from a storybook, reaching out her hand to me. Is it sweet? It's very sweet. That candy is the sweetest memory from my childhood. Hailey is the only bright presence in my early years. She would accompany me to walk the dog, share half of her favorite cake with me, and stand firmly in front of me whenever others mocked me. She always appeared when I needed her the most, reaching out to pull me out of the mire. However, childhood and adulthood are always different. Hailey's personality is cheerful and lively, like a little sun, always attracting many people, so her time spent with me became less and less. Her life became richer with new joys and new friends. In fact, we even missed the day we had promised to try on wedding dresses together. The doors of the wedding dress shop swung open. Serena walked in wearing high heels, standing right in front of me. Rocky, my sister, asked me to try on the wedding dress in her place. I nodded. The attendant led Serena into the fitting room. Before long, the curtain pulled back, revealing Serena in a white floor-length mermaid gown. Her long hair was casually styled, with a couple of slightly curled strands cascading down. Her skin was fair, her eyes shimmering, and without any jewelry, she still radiated a noble beauty. Serena walked over to me, and together we gazed at our reflections in the mirror. She smiled lightly. This wedding dress matches your suit perfectly. I was about to nod in agreement. This was a dress I had personally sketched and designed, custom-made for my wedding with Hailey. But she continued, only this dress isn't really suitable for Hailey. I looked at her in the mirror, bewildered, not quite understanding her words. Serena went on, Hailey's lively personality means she's like a princess, pampered by her parents, so she prefers big princess-style skirts. Rocky, this wedding dress and she just don't match. I was shocked by what Serena said. In my memory, she was an extremely aloof person, rarely speaking and seldom interacting with others. When we were young, Hailey would take me to her house to play, and Serena was always busy. She was either studying piano or dancing. She seemed to have a lot of classes, filling every day to the brim. In contrast, her younger sister, just 2 years younger, appeared to be particularly carefree. As for me, Serena hadn't exchanged many words with me either. Our first real interaction was because of Hailey. It was my day for a routine checkup that happened every 3 months, and Hailey promised to accompany me, but that day she canceled. She didn't tell me why, nor did she mention that Serena was coming to keep me company, so I was quite surprised when Serena showed up at the hospital. She was calm, taking the form from my hands, and walked into the examination room without a word. That day, Serena stayed with me the whole time. For every test, she would personally ask the doctors questions, not missing any detail, to the point that some inquiries I hadn't even thought of. Once all the tests concluded, when she heard the doctor say everything was healthy, just that my body was a bit weak and needed some nourishment, she finally let out a quiet sigh of relief. Serena casually tucked her hair behind her ear, folded the form, and handed it back to me. Her deliberately softened voice was particularly pleasant. Rocky, take care of your health. I nodded. Thank you for your trouble today. Serena nodded back, smiling. How about you treat me to dinner? Taken aback, I still agreed to her request. After all, a whole day of testing had indeed been exhausting. That day marked my first time having a meal with a girl other than Hailey. Serena was indeed very different from Hailey. She didn't chatter incessantly during the meal, nor did she wear a perpetual lively smile. If Hailey was a lively sprite, then Serena felt like a moon goddess, noble and cold. After trying on the wedding dress, Serena did not walk away like she used to. She lazily leaned against her car, letting the gentle evening breeze tousle her fluffy curls. "Rocky, why don't you come with me to a place? Perhaps it could unravel the doubts in your heart." I looked at her. She looked back at me. The difference was my eyes mirrored surprise at her ability to grasp my innermost thoughts, while in her eyes there was mockery, a subtle smile lurking just beneath the surface. Seemingly confident in my feelings, Serena opened the car door and climbed in. Indeed, she guessed right. I was eager to know. I took the passenger seat. We shared a silent understanding, not uttering a word along the way. I didn't ask her where we were going, and she did not question why I chose to trust her words. As we drove on in silence, only the sound of the rushing wind filled the air. The car stopped by the seaside, and it was there I spotted the missing Hailey. Barefoot on the soft sand, she held a microphone singing a melodious tune, her gaze soft as water fixed on the boy beside her strumming a guitar. Their eyes met, forming a silent bond of tenderness. For reasons unknown to me, I found the two of them strangely matched. The lively and charming girl paired with the sunny, cheerful guitar boy somehow suited her better than being with a dull and weak young man. After a love song ended, the crowd erupted into cheers. They shouted loudly, "Kiss, kiss." Hailey smiled, rose to her tiptoes, and gave the boy a gentle peck on the lips. She shyly looked at him and softly said, "Happy birthday, Tony." Compared to the excitement over there, our side felt overwhelmingly desolate, and I could even feel a chilling cold washing over me. Serena's gentle voice broke the silence, laced with a hint of teasing. "I told you your wedding dress doesn't suit her." I turned to her and said, "Let's go." Serena seemed quite surprised. "Aren't you going to ask her anything?" I shook my head, knowing the answer is enough. In truth, I had known for a long time. Every time Hailey stood me up, it was for the same person. That man named Tony. He was Hailey's college classmate, not only handsome but also an exceptionally skilled guitarist, a figure of renown at their school. They prepared for the school anniversary together, performed on stage, and were jokingly referred to as a pair of golden boys and jade girls by their classmates. Such words reached my ears, and Hailey only kissed me briefly. "Rocky, don't listen to their nonsense. In my heart, only my Rocky is the best match." But when she said that she wore the bracelet Tony had given her, an ordinary bracelet, yet one that Tony had sought from the most revered temple said to bring safety, the little princess who always loved pearls and gems had changed, donning the bracelet with newfound resolve. She told me, "After all, it's a sincere gift. I can't just let it go to waste." And so she wore that bracelet, never parting with it until now. On the way back, it was still Serena who drove me. Halfway through, she suddenly spoke up. "Rocky, have you made your decision?" I paused for a moment, asking, "What do you mean?" Serena stopped the car, turning to look at me. Her expression was as serious as the first time I saw her, and she was focused on the piano sheet music. "Rocky, are you sure you want to marry Hailey?" Such a question left me speechless. Once I was absolutely certain that Hailey was going to be my bride. I had countless times imagined her in a pure white wedding dress, walking toward me step by step, but now I seemed uncertain. I wasn't sure if her genuine feelings still rested with me. I wasn't sure if she still wanted to be my bride like she once did. After a moment of silence, Serena's voice rang out again, soft, gentle, yet resolute. "Rocky, why not look at me? Actually, I think we are more compatible." Moonlight streamed through the car window, illuminating her face and shining in her eyes as she quietly gazed at me. For some reason at that moment, my heart skipped a beat. The image of Serena standing beside me in that wedding dress flashed through my mind. She really did seem more suited for the fishtail wedding dress I designed. Not long after I got home, Hailey called me. Rocky, opened the door. When I opened the door, Hailey had already changed her outfit. The blue skirt she wore while singing on the beach had been replaced with a white princess dress. Holding a cake, she tiptoed and hugged me the moment I opened the door. "Good Rocky, did you miss me?" She didn't notice that this time I didn't wrap my arms tightly around her waist. Hailey let go of me and walked straight in, opening the strawberry cake and resting her chin on her hand as she looked at me. I joined her and sat across from her. The strawberry cake seemed particularly glaring at that moment. "Is it Tony's birthday cake?" Hailey froze, panic washed over her, and her face turned pale. "Rocky, let me explain." I spoke softly. "Explain what?" "Explain why you disregarded our appointment to try on wedding dresses and went to celebrate Tony's birthday. Or explain why you kissed Tony by the seaside." I lowered my gaze, then lifted my eyes to look at the bright full moon outside the window. "Hailey, have you forgotten that today is the 5th anniversary of our relationship? That's why I specifically chose today to try on wedding dresses. Originally, I wanted to add a romantic and happy touch to our 5 years together, but unexpectedly things turned out the opposite." Hailey stood frozen, her eyes reddening in an instant. She instinctively reached for my hand, but I pulled away. Her hand lingered in the air, trembling slightly, then dropped weakly. "Rocky, I'm sorry." I looked at the sorrow and sadness in her eyes and said calmly, "Hailey, let's break up. Every time you choose to abandon me for another man, your heart has already changed, hasn't it? 5 years ago today, we loved each other and chose to be together. But 5 years later, our feelings have become impure, so we should separate." Seeing me so calm, Hailey knew I was serious. The night was quiet. Hailey stood up in a flustered state. She couldn't bear to meet my eyes and softly said, "Rocky, I'm leaving. I'll come back when you calm down." And just like that, she hurriedly disappeared into the night. That distant shadow gradually faded from my sight. It was midnight. Our love had become a thing of the past. When people lose something, they always love to reminisce about the past. For some reason, I suddenly found myself thinking about the old days, back when Hailey's heart and eyes were filled with me. She would wait at my classroom door after school, unconcerned with others' gazes, affectionately linking her arm with mine. She openly expressed her love for me, standing at the school gate with a bright bouquet of sunflowers, shouting my name at the top of her lungs. "Rocky, you will always be the best in my heart. I like you." Hailey likes Rocky. Even if the teacher stood there, she was still bold and confident, holding my hand and running down the long road. The gentle slant of the sun bathed her radiant smile, and it also spilled warmth onto my pounding heart. I thought she would always hold my hand as we traversed one sunrise and sunset after another, spring turning into autumn. But unfortunately, she met Tony in college. The first time I saw Tony was during a rehearsal for their school's anniversary celebration. He took off his jacket and draped it over Hailey's legs. His smile was bright, and he said to me, "Hailey really is a very special girl. She is lively and cheerful, full of confidence, always able to attract others' attention unknowingly. To be honest, I envy you for having her." Tony looked at me with genuine sincerity, with not a hint of provocation or manipulation, but in that moment a sense of unease took root in my heart. Instinctively as a man, I was incredibly certain that he liked Hailey. In retrospect, I wasn't entirely wrong. Yet I never imagined Hailey would develop feelings for Tony. I thought that after 10 years of knowing each other and 5 years of being in love, our bond was unbreakable. Only now do I realize that feelings are indeed too fragile. Hailey seemed to have completely forgotten about that day. The next morning, she knocked on my door, bringing with her my favorite toast. "Rocky, I know you love the toast from this place, so I went to get it first thing in the morning." She pulled me to the dining table, carefully spreading strawberry jam on my toast. When she handed it to me, there was a hopeful glimmer in her eyes. I looked at her, and in the end, I accepted the slice of toast. I could visibly see Hailey breathe a sigh of relief. She returned to her cheerful self, with the same smile on her face. Hailey loved to laugh, and I liked her smile as well. Yet at that moment, I couldn't feel happy about receiving her smile, because I knew clearly that everything she did now was to make up for it, to make up for the promise she broke that day, to make up for the changed feelings. But days like this made me mistakenly believe that we were still the same as before. Someone named Tony had never appeared in our lives. So close, I thought I could once again grasp my own happiness. That evening, Hailey received a phone call. After a moment, her cheerful expression turned serious, her face filled with worry. When she hung up, she hurriedly changed her shoes and rushed out. But at the moment she opened the door, she remembered me busy in the kitchen preparing a table full of food. She said, "Rocky, I have some urgent matters to attend to. I'll be back soon. You don't have to wait for me. Just eat your meal." She left in a hurry, not caring a bit about my pale face, and didn't wait for my response. All that was left for me was the sound of the door slamming shut. After Hailey left, I sat dazed at the dining table. The table full of carefully prepared dishes had become hard to swallow at that moment. I didn't know how long I sat there. By the time the knock on the door sounded, the food on the table had already gone cold. It was Serena. She held a bottle of champagne in her hand. I was a bit surprised, staring blankly at the exquisite woman before me. I didn't have much of a relationship with her. Every encounter was just her taking Hailey's place to keep me company. Once she accompanied me to the hospital. Another time she tried on wedding dresses for Hailey. I also invited Serena to accompany me to the designer gala. On that occasion, Serena was dressed exquisitely, radiating beauty like a goddess descending from the moon. She gently linked her arm with mine, easily engaging in conversations with other designers. She seemed to excel in social settings and understood design well, able to perfectly convey my design concepts and ideas in just a few sentences. Even her small insights would enhance my already impressive works. At that moment, as Serena admired my exhibited pieces, she sincerely exclaimed, "Your work always resonates deep within me," leaving me in awe. "Rocky, you're a great designer." Some people mistakenly thought she was my girlfriend, praising me for having a soulmate. I was left speechless, but she just smiled at me. After the gala, I expressed my apologies to her. "Miss Hailey, I'm sorry for the misunderstanding. It must have caused you some inconvenience." Serena, however, swirled her wine glass and smiled charmingly. "I don't find it inconvenient at all, Rocky." Serena walked straight in. She took off her exquisite high heels, walking barefoot on the soft carpet. She shook the champagne at me. "Maybe you'd like to drink some." I found it hard to believe. "You came all this way just to drink with me?" Serena opened the champagne on her own, took 2 glasses from the cupboard, poured herself a glass and finished it in one gulp. "I thought you might need some alcohol to get through today." She wasn't wrong. Hailey had gone to find Tony again. again. She received that phone call, thinking I was in the kitchen and couldn't hear it, but even in fragments, I understood 7 or 8 parts of it. Tony was sick, lying at home, refusing to go to the hospital. It was his friend who called Hailey, asking her to persuade Tony to go. There was one thing I heard particularly clearly. "Hailey, you know Tony always listens to you." Just like that. That simple sentence shattered the illusion of reconciliation that had been built over this period. I was left alone, still lost in past memories. It felt somewhat ridiculous. I took the glass Serena handed me, clinking it with hers. The crisp sound of glass ringing made the liquid inside the glasses ripple. Before long, I felt dizzy. I rarely drink. Serena suddenly leaned closer, resting her hand on my shoulder. Her delicate features were stunningly beautiful, and the tear mole at the corner of her eye added an air of cold elegance, with a hint of drunkenness. She became even more unconsciously alluring. I stood there dazed, staring at her. She wrapped her arms around my neck, drawing closer to me. Softly she asked, "Rocky, do you think I'm beautiful?" Her breath was right in front of me, warm and fiery. I don't know why, but I nodded involuntarily. Serena smiled, her voice enticing. "Then how about we sleep together tonight?" Serena kissed my lips, passionate and lingering, holding my face to make me look at her. "Rocky, keep your eyes on me. I'm not worse than her. I'm even more suited for you." One by one, Serena's fingers undid my buttons, her hands clasping my waist. Our shirts scattered on the floor, intertwined with her light blue dress. The air filled with implicitness and entanglement, turning the room into a scene of allure. The moonlight seeped in through the window, illuminating our tightly embraced bodies, making the atmosphere even clearer. Serena pressed close to me, whispering softly, "Rocky, can we?" I nodded, holding her as we walked into the bedroom. When I woke up, it was already noon. Warm sunlight poured through the thin curtains, landing on the white skin beside me. Serena lay obediently in my arms like a gentle little kitten. She rubbed her sleepy eyes, her voice becoming sticky with drowsiness. "You're awake." Just as I was about to nod, the bedroom door was pushed open. Hailey stood at the doorway, her eyes red and her voice a furious yell. "What are you doing? Rocky, what are you doing?" She looked at me, and I looked back at her, but Serena seemed unfazed, climbing up my neck and giving me a kiss on the lips. It seemed intentional, exposing the wild marks of last night to Hailey. She raised her eyebrows at Hailey, a smirk playing at the corners of her lips. "Isn't it obvious what we're doing? Hailey, Rocky will be your brother-in-law from now on." Hailey stood frozen like a statue. A moment later, the tears flowed uncontrollably. She pointed at me, then at Serena. You both. Serena, how can you seduce your own sister's boyfriend?" "Serena, you have no shame. I will make Dad kick you out of Hailey's house." Serena scoffed softly, her previously taunting gaze gradually darkening, replaced by unmasked coldness and hatred. "Hailey, it's your fault for not cherishing him. I can't help that. You're simply not worthy of all these years Rocky has liked you. Weren't you always wanting me to take your place with Rocky? Then I will completely take your place and be by his side forever. And remember this, we're not real sisters, we're just half-sisters. Besides, Hailey's house belongs to my mom. It has nothing to do with you and your mom, who was a mistress." Serena spoke softly and calmly, but it hit like a thunderbolt, instantly silencing the tense atmosphere. I felt her hand trembling involuntarily under the covers as she spoke, especially when she mentioned her mother. Hailey clenched her fist, turning to look at me. Tears streamed down her face, making her appear utterly pitiful. "Rocky, you heard her. She's deliberately seducing you. She's doing it to get back at me, to get back at my mom. Rocky, she doesn't even like you." I shook my head, picking up my pants from the floor and putting them on, standing before Hailey with a serious expression. "Hailey, we've already broken up. It has nothing to do with her. I thought we could get back together during those days, but sadly, you still can't let go of Tony. You left me for him once again. There's no reason for us to keep entangled. Let's part on good terms, Hailey." Hailey's face turned pale and she screamed in a trembling voice, "Rocky, who wants to part on good terms with you? You can only be mine." Hailey cried as she left. Serena hugged me from behind, softly calling my name, "Rocky." I pulled her hands away, grabbing a large piece of clothing to wrap around her. You got what you wanted, Serena." Serena frowned, pursing her lips as she looked at me solemnly. "Rocky, I'm not using you. I truly care for you." As she spoke, she paused, her icy hand gently taking mine. "Rocky, believe me." I gazed into her eyes, seeing only genuine affection without a trace of deceit. It turned out that as long as a lie was told with enough sincerity, even the eyes could deceive. I withdrew my hand, stepping back. The sunlight shone on her face, soft and beautiful, but filtered through the curtain, it fractured into a million pieces. Serena told me about Hailey's family, about the deepest secret she had buried in her heart. Once they were a happy family of 3, but when she was 5 years old, her mother died in a car accident. Serena was very sad, staying by her mother's coffin for 7 days, crying relentlessly for more than 7 days. In less than 3 months, Hailey's father brought home a woman and her daughter, whom he had been raising elsewhere. That so-called sister of hers was already 3 years old. With Hailey's arrival, Serena was forced to move out of her spacious and exquisite bedroom and into the guest room. The home that once belonged to her became a paradise, filled with laughter and joy of others. Serena accidentally overheard a conversation between her father and stepmother, and learned that her mother's car accident had been jointly planned by them to seize the company and assets left to her mother by her grandfather. mother. From the age of 5, she learned to read people's expressions, and because she was young and weak at that time, she could only suppress her boundless hatred and coexist with the wolves. But after that, she could never have a happy childhood again. She had to study harder, always at the top of her class, to earn her father's admiration, to gradually enter the company and secure her position as the general manager. As she spoke, I suddenly recalled some past events. In my childhood, when I went to Hailey's house to find her, Serena would quietly sit in front of the piano practicing continuously. She wore an old dress from a few years ago, which no longer fit her well. Her shoes were also slightly worn out. In contrast, Hailey, dressed in the latest princess dress, was indeed like a princess admired by all. At that time, when Hailey saw me staring at Serena, she pulled me upstairs. When mentioning her sister, her tone was mostly disdainful. She's just a bookworm, don't mind her. All her hard work is just to make Dad happy, but no matter how hard she tries, Dad's favorite daughter will always be me. As she spoke, she took out a bag of dog food. Rocky, I hear this is the best dog food. Take it back for Lucy. Lucy was the golden retriever I had rescued. After Serena finished speaking, her eyes were already glistening with tears. Perhaps she was reminded of her early deceased mother. I didn't say anything. Silence was all that remained between us. Moments passed and Serena stood up. The look in her eyes was filled with sorrow. Rocky, so you don't believe me? It wasn't a question, it was a statement. So this time she didn't say anything more. She took her things and left my house. At the moment the door closed, the house fell into an overwhelming silence. It was so quiet that I could clearly hear the sound of my own heartbeat, and the meal that had been set out since last night was already cold, just like my heart and my past. I don't know what Serena is thinking. She moved out of Hailey's house and into the one next door to mine. That house, which had been empty for so long, suddenly became lively. However, she didn't come by my place anymore, and we rarely bumped into each other. She was busy with her work, leaving early and returning late each day. I was also occupied with my career, putting in hard work for a designer competition. I successfully participated in the competition and won a silver medal. Not only that, but my work also caught the eye of a well-known brand, which decided to sign a contract with me, planning to develop a sub-brand based on my designs. The sudden surprise caught me off guard, but I still accepted the contract. From that point on, I was busier than ever. The new brand required new designs, and I immersed myself in creativity, hoping not to disappoint the mentor who valued me. So I was quite surprised when Hailey and Tony came to find me. He was still wearing a casual t-shirt and ripped jeans, not much different from the fresh sunny boy he was 2 years ago, but he seemed to have gained a bit of steadiness. On the other hand, Hailey, who always loved to look beautiful, appeared somewhat haggard and tired, with dark circles under her eyes. Tony got straight to the point. I know you have misunderstandings about Hailey and me, but I want to clarify that we are innocent. I frowned slightly. I was unsure how he had the audacity to utter the word innocent. Innocent enough to kiss in public. He seemed to see through my disdainful expression, clearing his throat awkwardly. Hailey quickly stepped forward, taking my hand. Rocky, you must believe me. I truly love you. Serena is wanting revenge. She hates my mom for taking my dad, so she wants to use the same method to get back at me. Don't be fooled by her. She isn't serious about you at all. You're just a tool for her revenge. She has no real feelings for you. I promise I'll never leave you again. I will love you well, Rocky. Give me one more chance, okay? Hailey's voice echoed clearly. In the silent room, each word felt like tiny needles piercing my heart. Those beautiful memories from the past shattered at that moment. I suddenly felt regret. The memories I once cherished had vanished. Originally, I had never regretted loving Hailey. The joy and happiness she brought me over the years were real, and so was the love. So I wanted to start anew with those beautiful memories. But now she had destroyed my last piece of beauty. Only now did I realize. In Hailey's eyes, I never was a precious existence. I withdrew my hand from her grip, stepping back 2 paces. There's no possibility between us anymore. Hailey was stunned for a moment, staring at her empty hand, and tears fell instantly. She choked with emotion and asked me, "Is it because of Serena have you fallen for her?" I sighed softly and shook my head. It has nothing to do with her. Hailey, you have destroyed our years of love with your own hands. You wanted to be with me while being ambiguous with Tony, but one can't have everything. The price of greed is nothing at all. Now your desperate entanglement might be due, not to how much you love me, but rather because you can't bear to see something that once belonged to you taken away by someone you've always looked down on. It's your jealousy and possessiveness at play. Hailey shouted loudly. No, that's not true. I love you. I really love you. Compared to Hailey's breakdown, I felt exceedingly calm and indifferent. If you truly love me, then what about Tony? What does he mean to you? Hailey trembled and looked at Tony, who now stood behind her. The boy had lost his former enthusiasm, only carrying disappointment and sorrow. Tears streamed down her face again, and with a choked voice she questioned me. So you won't forgive me, will you? Seeing her sad and distressed now, my heart felt no ripples at all. I nodded without hesitation. 10 years ago in a springtime, I met Hailey in the forest park. Holding Lucy's hand, we wandered aimlessly through the corners of the park, not knowing how long we played. Suddenly the world went dark, and I stumbled, nearly falling. A little girl in a princess dress handed me an orange-flavored candy, slowly bringing me back from from the shadows. She smiled at me and reached out her hand. She asked, "Is it sweet?" I nodded, but what was sweet wasn't just that candy. It was also the dimples in her smile, and the ripples in my heart that wouldn't settle. That year I was 13 and Hailey was 11. 5 years later, I planted a garden full of white tulips for Hailey, then designed a beautiful princess dress myself. I placed a crown on her head and kissed her cheek softly. "Hailey, would you be my girlfriend?" What responded was her bright smile and soft lips. Now in the deep autumn 10 years later, we find ourselves walking in opposite directions. The new leaves that bloomed in spring will eventually turn yellow in autumn, then vanish with the wind. After the new brand was established, the response was overwhelming. I found myself needing to work harder on my creations. Often I was so busy that I didn't even have time to eat. So on that day, I fainted from low blood sugar. When I woke up, I was in the hospital. Beside me was Serena, who lived next door but I had never met until now. Seeing me awake, she handed me a glass of water. "You're awake, you." She hesitated, and her expression left me with an indescribable feeling. I took the glass and thanked her. "Thank you." When I placed the glass down, I noticed a small cake sitting beside me. Seeing my surprise, Serena seemed a bit embarrassed. "Today is your birthday. I wanted to buy a cake for you, but I didn't expect to find you unconscious at your doorstep." I had been so busy that I completely forgot my own birthday, but I never thought Serena would remember. Perhaps she saw through my thoughts. Serena spoke softly. "I've always remembered your birthday. The birthday gifts from Hailey each year. I prepared them all." I was stunned. The signed photo of my favorite designer, the rare music album, and the chance to be a student of a top designer. All the gifts were thoughtfully arranged by Serena, and I had misinterpreted her gestures as Hailey's, thus treating Hailey even better, giving her my truest feelings. I looked into her eyes. "Why?" Serena let out a light laugh. "She is a pampered little princess who would never put in so much effort and just left everything to me." She paused, her earlobes tinted with a slight blush. Her curved eyebrows and eyes resembled a crescent moon. "But I'm very willing and happy to prepare birthday gifts for you." Such words made my heart feel tender. Serena tentatively held my hand. "Rocky, do you want to believe me this time?" This time, I did not let go of her hand. In the dead of night, Serena knocked on my door. She called out tenderly. "Brother-in-law, open the door, it's me, your sister." Such nonsense didn't sound like something she would say. She was drunk, but somehow drunk Serena resembled a naive, charming girl. Not at all the noble and aloof woman she usually was. When I opened the door, I pinched her slender waist. "Serena, stop talking nonsense." Saying this, I kissed her lips passionately. After a sweet moment, Serena came to her senses, sleepily resting in my arms. "Serena, I'll be going abroad in a few days for a design competition. If I win, it could really boost my new brand's reputation." She nestled in my arms, but her hands were getting a little mischievous, slipping beneath my clothes. Sure, while I was abroad, Serena remained busy. I could always find some news about her online. For example, she had brought down Hailey's father, who held the title of chairman and had sued him for embezzlement. Or her stepmother had caused a scene at the H group, cursing at her, calling her an ungrateful daughter who set a trap for her own father. Or after her father went to prison, she had kicked her stepmother and stepsister out of the house, not giving them a single cent. To this day, her stepmother still made a scene at the H group's entrance. However, during our video calls, she never mentioned any of this. The side she showed me was always filled with bright sunshine. 3 months later, my work won another award. The brand company held a grand celebration for me. Serena, who had promised to accompany me to the event, didn't show up. "Rocky, I have something to handle at my company. I can't go with you, sorry." The moment I saw the message, my heart sank involuntarily. Memories flooded back. Hailey had done this too, missing my important moments time and again, while being with other men. Was I destined to repeat the past? I arrived at the celebration feeling lost, and spoke with my colleagues absent-mindedly. "Rocky, did you know our brand's behind the scenes investor is coming today? Look at you, you must have quite the pull." I was surprised. I didn't even know our sub-brand had an investor behind it. I didn't know. Just then the brand's general manager took the stage, and as she introduced someone, the spotlight focused on the staircase on the second floor. Serena appeared before me like that. The lights followed her steps, bringing her closer to me. She held a bouquet of white tulips. "Rocky, congratulations." Amidst the cheers, I accepted the bouquet of white tulips. It was then I noticed the entire venue was decorated with white tulips. I remembered a few years ago on Valentine's Day, Hailey unexpectedly gave me a bouquet of red roses. She said that even boys could have their own flowers. I smiled and accepted. Hailey was naturally happy, but Serena, as if accidentally, bumped into me, causing the red roses to fall to the ground, and she even stepped on them. Feigning apology, she said, "These red roses are so tacky, Rocky wouldn't mind me, right?" After a brief separation, Serena was quite bit clingy. She leaned against my shoulder, smiling as she asked if I wanted to hear her play the piano. At that moment, the sunset bathed the land in a warm glow, stretching our shadows long and tinting them with hues of crimson. Serena's slender fingers danced gracefully and confidently over the black and white keys. The fluid notes accompanied my breath, moving in perfect rhythm. I felt as if there was a soft glow surrounding Serena. The white tulips on the piano were even more enchanting. I asked her how she knew I didn't like red roses. She smiled slightly. Because when Hailey gave you red roses that day you frowned. Unfortunately, Hailey was too immersed in her own idea of giving, not really understanding what you needed, what you liked. She paused and leaned closer to me. Rocky, I've told you before, you and her you don't match. I was somewhat confused. Serena, I truly can't comprehend where your feelings for me come from. In my memory, Serena had always been distant and cold, indifferent toward everyone. It seemed she had never truly looked at me. When we passed each other occasionally, she would merely cast a fleeting glance. Serena tightened her grip on my hand, her voice trembling slightly. Do you remember Lucy? Lucy, the golden retriever I found. She was my first warmth during a lonely childhood. That day when other kids laughed at me for being sickly. No one wanted to play with me. After mocking me, they all ran away, leaving me sitting all alone in the shade. The sound of laughter gradually faded from my ears, and all that remained was a gentle breeze. Lucy came to me at that moment. Wagging her little tail, she smiled at me, her wet tongue gently licking the back of my hand. She seemed to be telling me that I was not alone. I searched high and low for her owner, but couldn't find anyone. She clung to me so much that I decided to adopt her, naming her Lucy. Before Hailey's arrival, Lucy became my only companion. She was the only one who wouldn't mock me for being weak, and she never left me to run around alone. She was my most loyal friend, always by my side. But then an unfortunate car accident took her away from me forever. Actually, Lucy was a gift from my mother. Serena's voice was soft, yet it resonated like a loud echo in the still air. Sadly, my mother passed away in a car accident not long after she took Lucy home. The woman who came into our lives said she was allergic to dog hair, and while I was away, she got rid of her. That day I cried and searched everywhere but found nothing, until I accidentally saw you holding her in your arms, gently stroking her head. At that moment I realized you would be a better owner for her than I could ever be. She sighed. What could a person do to protect something they love if they can't even protect themselves? So later I often secretly watched Lucy, seeing you both playing joyfully on the grass. She was happy and you were happy. That smile was something I hadn't possessed in a long time. Serena held my shoulders, leaving ambiguous marks on my neck. She said she had known me longer than Hailey had. She said that the orange-flavored candy Hailey gave me was taken by her first. She confessed she had liked me for a long time, that we shared the same solitude and warmth, and we were the perfect match for each other. She said, Rocky, our connection has long begun. A passionate kiss landed on my cheeks, on my lips, and deep within my heart. I wrapped my arms around her slender waist, taking the lead. You're right. That mermaid wedding dress would go perfectly with my suit, and you are the one who fits that dress the best. In the wedding dress shop, in front of a transparent and bright mirror, a girl in a white mermaid wedding dress held the arm of a man in a black suit. Under the soft lights, the man's gaze was fixed on the woman, not willing to look away for even a moment. The tenderness in his eyes was nearly overflowing, making it seem like she was all that filled his heart and mind. Rocky, let's get married. Serena, you look beautiful in this wedding dress. The end. If you like Kitten's story, please follow and like it. Updated every morning at 9 a.m.